Right. Welcome back. It has been a while, for valid reasons, more so
Yeah.
on Sam's side. He's been very good. But we are back nonetheless. And we will go over basically a number of things to do with Sam, his shows, and we'll chat a little bit about, because there's been a number of big shows on as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to throw it over to Sam and he can fill you in on what he's been up to.
Yeah, so fantastic. So prep kind of got, it was weird. Prep kind of came at a weird time. A couple of things happened. And then we done really well though. I got really, really tired. A couple of things Darren said, just the Wednesdays wasn't suiting out. But yeah, I ended up having to, well, to be honest, let's talk about the positives. Got into two shows, FMC and BPA. Me and Darren knew that we have to have, I was about 80% on. We didn't come in 100%. We said to jump in some shows early on. Main reason being was to practice stage presence and posing, because we had got a posing coach for the first time, which I really do recommend. And we came in by 80% and we ended up taking two swords, which I was very, very surprised with and happy with. But the main takeaway from that was, I think that was the first time ever that I can look back on photos of me on stage and look back and be proud, because every other time, no matter what Darren done on my side, my posing didn't reflect how I looked ever. It was all on me, all completely my side, all completely. You always forget that posing and check-ins always different on stage. And you always, even though I always like would change my posing from check-in to stage, because I thought it felt better. I'm like, this feels better. This feels like I'm posing better. And I look back on the photos, I'm like, wow, I look awful. So Darren put me onto an amazing guy, and what a difference. I can actually look back on photos and be like, there's still things I could have worked on, but I look back, I'm like, that actually feels like how my physique actually felt, if that makes sense. For the first time ever. Conditioning was good. I think conditioning was, it's weird because the tan that I used did not like the professional photos at all. Like it just the contrast in workout, but I was very happy with conditioning and overall stage presence. A couple of family things came up, so I had to pull it a little bit early, which I'm gutted about, but I'm at peace with. I think every show was getting better and better, better, but then put me in a good position to be able to focus on my clients, and then my clients then end up doing really well as well. So I can't really complain with that at all. But yes, that's kind of, I think that's a basic breakdown, isn't it, really, of everything that went on?
Yeah, I'll go through a few things from my perspective of it.
Yeah.
Like the shows, we jumped into shows a little earlier than we had sort of planned out in the timeline, but really it was kind of, okay, I was like, how much do you recommend doing these? And the reality is, like, we had a very short prep because conditioning was there very early on. And it was a good opportunity to, because obviously Sam had previously only ever done classic. I think there's a number of things like to sort of lead into there with his thought on like how he looked in previous shows and never really been happy. I think a lot of the time, like looking back, we kind of look at that he was trying to force his physique into that class.
Yeah.
The weight coming off, you know, this is a conversation I've with quite a few guys, is when there's making weight to look good and there's making weight at the detriment of your physique. You know, it's probably a little bit too much. It didn't suit his physique. Sam's a big structured guy, so when he like came down really too much, he loses a lot of that pop and ultimately ended up kind of looking potentially like a little bit stringy on the upper body. And that was the difference moving into this. Moving into open, it's a very like it's a very different sort of criteria. I think like guys in classic, if I'm coaching guys in amateur classic, it's like get peeled out of your brains. You got to get skinless because in classic, now, unless you're absolutely huge and open, doing that could be the detriment. You know, you've got to, from a coach's perspective, you've got to look at a client and go, okay, there's two things you're looking for. There's like musculature, fullness, and conditioning. You know, if you push that conditioning too far that it sacrifices this, it doesn't look better. So you're like trying to find that balance with a lot of guys. And it's like, okay, you're assessing the physique and go be like, cool, I would love to be greedy and get absolutely peeled out glutes. But as I push for that, I'm losing chest fullness, I'm losing back thickness. it's not worth it. So that was kind of where we were at Sam. Like he says, I'm about 80% there. We're trying to find that balance of like, yeah, he was probably about 80% there in his mind of conditioning, but pushing that much further may have lost the overlook. Like if we'd come in more peeled, we probably wouldn't have won. Definitely that first show, there was a guy who was quite big and thick in there.
Yeah.
You know, he was a bigger, thicker guy than you. And if you had pushed too much conditioning, you wouldn't have stood next to him sort of size wise. So I think it was a nice balance, but it was still us like refining and looking at this season was always only going to be about, you know, seeing where he's at that level.
Yeah, 100%.
Finding out where we can, what we need to do to continue to develop on that. We have a good idea on that, but nonetheless, like the goal for when you said it to me last year was to do some local sort of Scottish shows and win some overalls. When we did 2 shows and took 2 overalls, I got 2 swords. So pretty successful overall.
Definitely. And I think going off that as well, is like completely agree. I think that from a coach's balance, because I even had it this season, was like, you can always push too much conditioning in the detriment of, like, with me, if we push, I noticed when I was doing my classic, my limbs would just go so sucked in. So my upper wouldn't change, my waist size wouldn't change, but my arms would suck in and my leg would suck in, and just it'd be the detriment of it looks worse. So I completely agree. More like getting that balancing act of keeping everything full, especially extremities, to make I've got a bit of a blocky on my body, keeping that look more balanced is a big thing. Because I did the exact same thing as well. I had a client and I was like, I could push more conditioning, but with the way his frame's built, if I lose any more arms or any more legs, he's just going to look like a big chicken nugget with little stick arms, and stick legs, which is going to be a worse look in general.
For any coaches out there who watch this now, this is a massive point for you as a coach on monitoring and assessing visuals and data, right? So with Sam, like we're looking at pictures almost every 2 days, relative to weight, relative to fluid, relevant, assessing different looks. Now, in order to do this, you have to give yourself a timeline that's allowing conditioning to be in quite early, giving you that time to assess and push things either way. Like you can, what you're doing is you're right, this is Sam at 106 kilo. Right, let's push him to 104. How does this look? Compare the 2 looks. If it's better, good. You're like, oh yeah, conditioning is through, but actually, I prefer the look at 106. I did the exact same with a wellness girl in both ways. Just a few weeks ago, I was doing the Australian Nationals. As we're prepping her conditioning, her lowest I pushed her was to 53.2 kilo. At 54, I was happy, but we had like 4 weeks to play with. So I was like, let's just see what a bit more conditioning looks like. Pushed her down. I was like, right, we lost a little bit of fullness. Pushed her back up, led into the show. She did her first state show at like 54.5. And I was like, let's try and push fullness a little bit more. So I assessed the look, pushed her up to like 56. I was like, okay, it's gone a little too far there.
Yeah.
We landed at like 55.4 at Nationals. Better luck. She ended up, from her state show, she ended up beating 2 girls that had beat her at the state show at Nationals, and she won the Nationals. So you've got to what I'm trying to say is you don't know till you know. So you have to be able to kind of push the 2 extremes of the look and find what you think works best. That's why you take multiple pictures, compare multiple pictures relative to the weights and the data. And so important as a coach.
Yeah, but as a coaching thing was, you see so much, like I think we've spoken about this before, but I want to reiterate it again. You'll see some coach like, yeah, I've put in 1,200 grams of carbs, look how much leaner he is. That is so cool, but it doesn't work for everybody. Like me, we know that I don't need much food at all. Like I really at all, which sucks because it'll be so cool if I just drive food and get fuller. But on the day, I get full on stage. Like I could literally within 20 minutes, as we know, I can have some honey and I could be bursting full of a little bit of honey pre-stage.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like understanding that just dry, like there's, you don't know what the look's going to be. So you do have to test flat and you have to test full. And then you have to make the assessment. That's why multiple shows is key, because not always, sometimes as a coach, you want to land a plane every time as a coach. But sometimes you don't, because you don't know if it's a better looks flatter or fuller. You just don't know till you're on stage. The lighting changes, the judging changes. You're like, and that's a thing. It's kind of like, it's like, that's why I think multiple shows are always going to be a good thing, or
The
multiple
thing
prep.
here is, like, we all know, when you see a picture of someone on their own and you're like, great, they look phenomenal, they're a winner, mad. You don't really know until you see them stood next to others, and it can like, you might actually, wait, no, they're not quite there or whatever. The same applies to the same individual relative to their other looks. So, you might be prepping someone and you're like, oh my God, fuck, that looks so good. That is on the money. That is so good. But again, you don't know until you know. Compare it to a different look, because what you thought might be amazing at 106, well, what does it look like at 105? What does it look like at 107? Well, oh, actually, 106 looks shit next to the 107. You don't go off your first initial wow moment with a client. Never go off that. Always test the sort of two ends. When you're sort of happy with where you're like, okay, this conditioning looks good, test it a little bit more, test it a little bit fuller, find what you think looks best, and then put them side by side like you would an athlete getting on stage. Looks great in their own, when they're stood next to others, not so great. You got to do that with the individual as well in their own comparisons.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's like, and it's one thing I had to explain to a couple of other clients as well. Is like, every peak is going to be different as well. You can't have, especially when you're doing back-to-back shows. It's one thing that I kind of even realized with myself. It's kind of like, your first show and your second show, you'll peak differently and they'll hit differently. But between your second and your third show, it's going to be massively different, because either you've already filled up, so you have to flatten off because you can't fill up the same way again, or every peak is going to be so much more different, which is the interesting thing. But it is a really fine art, and sometimes it is guesswork. You can't like, and
The other, like, what I do with every athlete I'm peaking is I look at their strongest body part and their weakest body part. Okay, so get an athlete, you're like, their chest is fucking crazy good, right? Looks full as hell, right? Want that. Glutes, not so full, not the thing. Push. So, and you kind of look and go, I need to find the balance there between those two. Because if I push too much for the glutes and I lose some of the strongest body part, not worth it. You kind of have like strongest body part, weakest body part, and kind of somewhere like, if you prep someone a few times, somewhere on their physique that's them ready, lower abdomen, lower back, this sort of striations, and there's that sort of thing you look for in their physique that kind of, they're ready. So you have your sort of like 3 assessment points there that you're kind of trying to find where they all align perfectly.
it's so funny how you say it, 'cause I think I've done that subconsciously. Because, like, speaking for example, when you said chest, everybody thought my client Michael Kennedy, strongest body part, chest, unbelievable, but his hamstrings aren't as big and developed as I want. So I was going off how dug out his hamstrings, what's his hamstrings looking like, and then I was looking at being like, how can I get them full without overfilling the chest? Because I was like, I want to keep striations in the chest, but I want those hamstrings to be full. So I was actually doing that as well without realizing it. Yeah, it's kind of, I think definitely when you think about the weakest and the strongest body part, you need to assess and go up that massively.
Yeah. So if we take, for example, when you say you lose your arms, like you said, if you push too much for conditioning, so that would be an assessment point for you, would be conditioning relative to, like, okay, I know he loses arms here, we've got it right. But when they start like flattening off, you're going to go, right, I can't push the conditioning anymore. So as a coach, you should be like looking for your athletes kind of assessments. It's a very quick and easy one for you that you can, especially if you're right. It's great if you can have, when you're doing your check-ins, like, leading into the show, you're getting pictures in, you can sit, you can look for a while. Often, like on a show day or the day before show, like when it's pretty manic, you've got a couple of minutes to kind of make your decision on what way you're going with things, right? So, like you should at this point kind of know where their body weight should be. So you can go, first of all, he's checked in and, oh fuck, he's a kilo off under where his body weight normally is here. So I need to push the food, or he's a kilo more. So it's kind of pushing. But if they're in and around where you're going to go, right, you need to go check, chest is full, check, hamstrings conditioning is where I want, and arms are full. Perfect. right? You go that checklist, you go chest is full, hamstrings are dug out, fuck, they look class. Oh shit, his arms are flattening off. You know, you have your assessment that kind of guide your decision making with where you, I don't know what your next step will be, because you don't have hours to play around with. Like yourself, if you're at your show with a client, you look at them, and you know they're expecting their update within sort of 10 minutes. Like me personally, when I'm with a client in person, I don't do that often anymore. But even when I'm in person, I look at them, I make some sort of assessment, I take pictures, and I leave. And then I look at the pictures again, do my assessments, and send through what they're going to do. I don't think, as a coach, I think you should never make a decision stood in front of the athlete.
I get that.
You want to be guided by, sort of influenced by the moment, you know, all that sort of stuff.
I think good of that. Yeah, definitely. I think it's funny though, because I did find that with being in person with a couple of clients this year, you can make, you can tell straight away within those couple little checks. You're like, okay, yeah, you're you're moving fastly. Yeah, in my head, I've got three major data points, two major data points I'm going up to see if you're full off your point. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I think the way we segued into this was actually we're talking a bit more. I think people are interested in post show. The post-show rebound, I think, which is, I always say, is one of the hardest parts about prep.
Yeah. I'll start for a little bit, because we're slightly doing things a bit different with you. So I'm always someone who's very much like post-show is immediately around health phase, setting yourself up for the off-season. Now, caveat to that is we had Sam planned out on a timeline that was much longer than his prep actually was. So his period of exposure was supposed to be longer than it was. So thought process here is, why pull all the drugs out and jump into a health phase when actually let's just continue the course as if we're on prep with the drugs in play, but just start reversing the food up. So yes, it is like a post-show, it's a rebound, but not in the sense like most people are going to hear these stories. People get finished the show, they've been on drugs for 20 weeks, and then they enter a rebound where, you know, health markers probably deteriorating, pushing more drugs in, pushing that further, and then ultimately they end up having to have a longer period off to correct those measures. But here, everything's good. We know everything's in a good place. We're still working within our timeline we initially planned of exposure, and we can use that period now. Instead of dieting, we're utilizing it as straight away into a growth phase.
Which has been really cool on my side. There's also, even though it's been a rebound, I think people automatically see as your rebound, hit hard, let's go after it. Basically, all that's happened is we've had a little bit more food, and loads of markets have improved, pulled out a couple of things to affect sleep, like training. We aren't barely any train anyway. I think the only thing we pulled was a bit of train ace. Food's up slightly. Body weight, lowest on prep was 108.4. I was sitting 113.2 this morning. So in 5 or 6 weeks, we're up 5 kilos.
Yeah, from lowest, but realistically, if we go look at what our sort of baseline weight, we're probably like 110.
Yeah.
If we're taking like the average there. So we're up like 3 kilos realistically, like, because 108 is probably depleted-ish.
Yes.
So 110 is probably there. If we look at visual comparison right now, there isn't a huge difference in body composition from sort of 108 to 110 at 113. Because we haven't just ramped up food. We've kind of put it back. We put enough in it initially to bring you into a place where you're no longer feeling sort of dieted, and into a place that will actually support your body getting stronger and support recovery. There's one thing post-show, whilst post-show, we do want to remain with a decent level of body composition. We don't want to be too slow in getting food back to a place that's actually like a baseline and supporting training and recovery. Otherwise, you could spend 2-3 months where until you feel like back to normal in the gym. We all know what that feels like after a show. The first week you go back to the gym, it's like, fuck, I still feel achy. I still feel like I'm on prep. You want to get rid of that feeling as quick as possible with a client.
I think with me, I think it took about 2 weeks to get back in the routine of it, but I feel great. And because of the slow, it's the best post show it's ever been. Has not been a struggle. It's been really, really joy. Training's good. Everything's improving. It was basically the first time ever that I think I reversed, even with stuff that went on at home. I reversed into out of a prep, doing the exact same thing I was doing in the prep. And it is key. Whenever I speak to folk, I think I made it look quite easy to a lot of people around me this year, but it's kind of like it's taken me 6 preps to be able to like literally step. I think 1 week I did cardio 4 days. I couldn't get the 5th day. I can't remember why, but there was actually a valid reason. Cardio's been in. So that everything I was doing on prep got moved into afterwards. The only difference was a bit more food. Body composition stayed the same. It took me about 2 weeks to get my rhythm with the gym, but Darren, like, just don't be an idiot, don't push, send you over training video for analysis. So stuff, I was just reversing out of it and I feel great. Like it is kind of like when you hit the nail on the head, I can see why people do it. When you reverse out of it, wow, just continue as prep, it's been unbelievable. Zero binges, zero wanting to binge. Like I've had little bits here and there. Like I bet you I could eat like a bit of a chocolate bar, not finish the whole chocolate bar and be fine with it, which isn't like me. Like, you know what I mean? I could have 2 squares and be like, okay, I'm fine. Because I'm enjoying so much feeling good.
The media post show week or 2 weeks to get an athlete to sort of reset everything from an execution standpoint in the gym. Because it's the perfect time because you're like, right, one, I don't want you training to failure. I want you pulling back a little bit. Connective tissue joints are going to be a little bit weak from prep. So you can't go all out. So let's use this time to reset execution standards, go over movement analysis again, make sure that we're setting it because you go, right, I want you set up for when we hit go, that everything's perfect and you're utilizing every session to 100%. The other thing worth mentioning here is like you said this post show was perfect. People think it looks easy. Yeah, that all started well over 18 months ago.
Yeah.
Starts with like, so is it, what do we say? The key to a good prep is a good off season, right? The key to a good reverse is a good prep, which starts with a good off season. It's all one big snowball effect, right?
Yeah,
you had a really good off season that was perfect, body composition in a place, food really high, output really low. So all of that meant was a prep that you didn't have to do anything extremely hard. You know, food was still high in prep, output was still low. Fat burners and things weren't needed. Therefore, you come out of a prep where you're at the back end of your prep and you're going, my body still feels pretty fine. You're not having to push food output so high that you have crazy food cravings and your cortisol's super high. So therefore, you're not feeling like shit. So you don't want to binge post show because guess what? You're satisfied. So it's all one big. So we say a good prep is a result of a good off season. That then carries into the next off season because that next off season will be good because you had a good prep.
And I think it's really easy to say and people agree, but until you actually experience that for yourself, you don't know until you know. Like even now you say that, I'm like, yeah, I would have said that, but until doing it and going through myself, it's kind of like, it's mad. Like so I think the max we got up to food before we had to pull back was 7,500, I think, in the off season. The lowest I got on prep was it 2.6, 2.8?
I think it was a little higher.
Yeah, it was okay. I thought about 2.8 to 3, which is still not low at all. Yeah, so we're about 2.8, and then zero cleanse. Mod C was our main driver of that, and even drunk scaled was a bit high, but there was no T3, no thyroid was needed because we got lean fast because of the off season was good. And yeah, we did have PEDs a bit higher, but it's because I'm carrying a lot more muscle tissue. I think we were up. I think the lowest last prep we got to was like 99. I think it is. I just missed weight, didn't I? Was it 99 kilos last prep? And pre-stage second one I was 109 depleted a bit, not too full. So it's easily 10 or 11 kilos up from last stage. And I'd say conditioning was comparable, maybe better.
I would say the same, probably looked better because you didn't go as flat. So obviously when you look, conditioning is always going to look better. If the muscle is full, you've got to think the more pressure from the muscle below, the tighter the skin will be around, the more conditioning you look. So I would say conditioning was probably around the same, but looked leaner because you weren't ever flat.
Yeah, fresher. And that's all that, and that was off the back of a very enjoyable and a long off season. I think I'm a massive believer that the longer you give it, the better it's going to be in off season. It just takes time. It's just consistency over time with lifting the weights and the food. And we've got another one now. So
there is, they don't have the patience to do a long off season. And without being too harsh, one of the people who are doing this don't love bodybuilding. They love getting lean and they love the prep.
stage.
Okay?
Yeah.
The attention of it. But, reality is off season is pretty boring. Like, I'm sure you have clients where they're like, they finish the show, you're 3 months into off season and they're already talking about doing the next show. You're like, well, you
Yeah.
haven't reached any progress yet. So you've got to be the same.
And I think as a coach, it's your responsibility to say, well, if you want to do it, there's going to be a similar look. If you want to do it, my advice is not to, but if you want a similar look, you're going to get back on stage, that's on you then. It does take time. It takes, I think even with PD scaling and blind about training hard and food, it just takes time to put on good quality tissue, especially not losing it in a dieting phase as well. I think people forget that it is, especially if you overrun a diet and you push too hard with either thyroid or stuff like that, you can lose quite a bit more muscle than you realize as well.
Like we kind of said there about post show, like it takes some. I remember a lot of things, like we're talking about the people in this scenario that are newer to the sport, right? Maybe haven't been bodybuilding for 10 years or so. They're probably doing it 2 or 3 years. Don't carry a lot of tissue. So ultimately, when they have prepped, it's probably quite hard, in terms of food's gone low, output's gone high. And then they're doing an off season for 3 or 4 months. Well, guess what? In those 3 or 4 months, by the end of it, you're actually probably only in a place where your body has recovered from prep.
Yeah.
Right. And you're not going to be in a position where, if you take a bit longer, you're moving into a prep that's going to be fresher and going to be, substantially better. But that's a lot of people, you hear stories about people that like, oh, fuck, it's so hard. They can't do it anymore. Well, it's a knock-on effect. Like we said, the snowball effect of you having good prep. It's the same for them. It's the snowball of prep of having bad off season, bad prep.
Yeah.
Worse off season, worse prep.
Yeah.
Even worse off season. If you keep doing things subpar, it's gonna get worse.
As it catches up with you. It catches up with you fast as well. And the body just gets tired.
Yeah.
Body just gets tired of all the subpar, not minding your sleep, not minding your food, like even eating. Yeah, it's kind of like I had a conversation with a client talking about, I'm looking forward to eating some normal food. I'm like, mate, your normal is meal prep. You're not actually normal now. If you want to be a bodybuilder, if you don't want to be a bodybuilder and be a lifestyle, I understand. But if you want to carry on bodybuilding and you want to make something of it, your new normal is literally just prep. If your new normal is eating on plan, and that's it, because you've got, as of course, you can have bits off plan here and there, but that's not normal, if that makes sense. The not normal is the good. If you go out, that's not meant to be normal. If you go out for food, it's meant to be
An occasion.
It's a sport of extremes, and people forget that how extreme it gets to. That's why either people love it or they don't. It doesn't mean anybody's better than anybody else, but either you like the extreme or you don't like the extreme, and you accept the extreme or you don't accept the extreme. Our normal is meal prep on planes, on traveling, weighing out our food. When we go out for meals, being like, I could have a beer, but I don't really want to. And even if I wanted to, I'm not going to. And it's kind of like, that's our new normal now. And he was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I'm just like that after prep. As well as I can't wait to eat normal food. And you're like, that's going to make it a lot worse by thinking about it like that. If you think about all the other food, you're going to make it so much harder for yourself. You're going to binge more. You're going to be eating food. You're going to be struggling to pull off your weight. It's kind of like, because that's not normal now.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying here that, like, we're not saying that, you never go out for a meal or that, but the idea is that your brain never switches off the goals you have in mind. So, your partner, your wife says, I want to go out on Saturday night for a meal or something as an occasion. It's cool, right? Go and do it. But your decision making around the food and your consumption is always relative to what you're doing. Like I haven't been vegan in a while, injured and stuff, but I'm still on a meal plan all the time. But I won't mind if we're going out on Saturday night. But what I'll do is I'll sort of, right, we're going here. I know I'm probably going to eat something like this. I'm going to tailor my food that day to make sure my calories aren't going crazy up. And the food choice I'm going to make is going to be in line with productivity to my digestion, So I'm like, well, I'm gonna get a steak there, and then I'm not just gonna switch off and go, right, I'll have 2 starters, and I'll have a big carbonara, and then I'm gonna have a big cheesesteak. No, I'm not gonna switch off like that, but I am gonna go out and I'm gonna eat a meal, but it's still gonna be my thought process around what I'm choosing is still gonna be in line with
Give
my
it,
goal.
yeah, giving time back is different. Like there is a thing about having time with the wife and having time with the missus, but we know that at the end of the day, even if bodybuilding wasn't your goal, having a whole plate of macaroni and cheese isn't going to be conducive to feeling healthy and feeling good.
No,
It
because you're gonna
tastes
wake
good.
up the next day with your digestion fucked, you're gonna have another poor day. You'll probably have a poor night's sleep.
Yeah.
Stomach to up for a couple of days. So what's meant to have been one meal out and being with your partner whenever has turned into 4 days of unproductivity.
Yeah, but even if you did bodybuild now, even if you did a bodybuild now, and more than I understand that it's like if I want to go out, I wouldn't be waking up feeling like shit anymore. I like going out and having a good time. If I want to go, I like feeling good, even outside the whole bodybuild. I like feeling good. I like feeling healthy. I don't like feeling bummed up or bloated or gassy or lethargic. I like just feeling good. So if I'm going to go out, you can go out with it. It's just with the bodybuilding thing, it's like eating a Domino's pizza shouldn't be normal because even without the bodybuilding, we know it's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know it's
It's
not going to be good.
like we're not denying it's fucking good. We'd all love it. And I guess like it's not a never, but it shouldn't be your norm to be having a Domino's every weekend. But you
Yeah.
know,
But yeah, that was so. I'm quite. It's been a very very pleasant rebound. Very very enjoyable. We got an endpoint soon. But the nice thing is, like even Darren was speaking just before we got on. There's no like we aren't chasing any number. Like my weight has barely changed for the past couple of weeks, up slightly, which is good. But we aren't chasing that up. Training performance is good. I'm feeling good. Food's getting in. Um, Literally it's kind of like, okay, all those other metrics are a really really good point. There's no way I can't be putting on muscle tissue with that kind
yeah,
of
the
thing.
key here is patience and time.
Yeah.
Sam's committed to the long-term process. So he's not on that side chasing anything because he's just wanting to do the work and let it come naturally. We know we have an extended time frame. We don't need to be 120 kilo in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Will we reach 120 kilo? More than likely, yes. Probably even
Yeah.
plus, based on historical data with Sam. We know we'll probably get up there. We don't need to be there next week. We have months and months and months. Break those months and months and months down, right? What's 7 kilo more, right? We're looking at an average weight gain of 0.5% per week.
I think seeing because we kept everything tight in the off season, the prep is that much more easier to begin with. I'm like, why do I not want every prep to be as seamless as that? Because I, it was literally, I wanted to carry on the prep, to be honest. And Darren helped me. I'll give you advice, not to blah, blah. And I could have carried it on, but then I'm like, okay, good reasons not to, yada, yada, yada. That's a good place to be at an end of a prep, actually being able to be like, I think I could keep on going now after I had about a week and a half off. And I'm like, now I want to have another prep like that where it was enjoyable. You do kind of want to stay on. You do want to keep on going with it. But that all came from having such an easy in on it, keeping it tight and not being an idiot and not just pushing for the sake of pushing, not just putting drugs in for the sake of putting in drugs. Very, very fresh, very good. Like it was the first prep it was like physically I was fine. It was it's because I was so fine physically, all the pressure went mentally. If that make sense. Because usually you have to deal with the mental and the physical side. So you're fucked mentally, you're fucked physically. It was only the mental side then, which then amplified a bit more. Not necessarily too bad a way, but it was like physically I felt great the majority of the time. Cardio felt good. We did go over 25 minutes. 25 minutes was the max we went up to. Um, Steps max went up to was 12K. We know we could have pushed further. There was more time, but he remember it's a prime example to people coming out of the show. Try to keep it hard. It is so hard, but try to keep it in a good position. Try and reverse out of it as good in the mind and body as you can, because it does make life so much easier in the long run. I know now that next prep's going to be
Yeah.
even better, which I can't wait for. I want to be setting that standard of Scottish bodybuilding. I don't think I'm there yet. I want to be at that high standard. I want people, when they talk about Scottish bodybuilding amateur, to be speaking about me. That's how
Yeah,
I want it to be. But I know it starts now. It starts when nobody's watching. There's little things that I'm doing. 99.9% of people don't see the majority of what bodybuilding is. They only see that little 0.1%, or when they see you in person, how's everything going? Sound. They don't see anything else. So that's like, that happens now post show with what I'm doing, with how I'm talking, with how I'm applying myself. And I really, really want to be at that top end. Because I think me and Darren had this conversation last week. It's kind of like, I've only technically been bodybuilding for 18 months and as open. So I know where I am. I don't count my classic as bodybuilding anymore, because that's a different time. That was different measures. We did different things. So now I'm trying to get up to that level. I want to be one of the best Scottish open bodybuilders and coaches. So,
definitely.
but it all starts now, post show, which is the hardest part.
Yeah. All right. So we've gone over that. What else has been going on in bodybuilding lately? Any
So
sort of stuff?
I just
No.
saw, do you know how we're talking about just doing bodybuilding, a lot of bodybuilding? I saw that Lewis Widgery won NABA Northwest.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that's
I didn't even
awesome.
think he'd be doing that. Yeah, I thought he was going to do PCA. I think one of his best looks ever.
Yeah, listen, there's a lot to be said for. I think, like, obviously, I don't know. This says, if you don't know, Lewis was an IFBB pro, in classic physique. I think he realized that he kind of reached his ceiling in there. He was never going to be a top IFBB pro. Still fucking phenomenal what he did and where he got to, along
Yeah,
with, I think, a couple of health issues. Like, he had a couple of digestion, stomach
yeah, thing to
issues and stuff, and didn't want to push the boat to go where he needed to go. So he
completely
took
understand.
last year to step away and compete in PCA, because fucking just loves competing. I am not going to argue with that. That is my type of guy who's doing
Yeah,
this to loves it, not chasing any clout, just wants to compete, have some fun with it. But it's worth noting that he took that pressure away of chasing something and looks a lot better. Looks better for it, like, in my opinion. Looks awesome. Really, really good
I
look.
think that NABA showing next. I looked at the photos. And he's up against Ryan Markins. Ryan Markins is always comes and peeled and fucking huge. And I could see why they gave it to Lewis. Lewis came in the biggest, the fullest, the leanest he's ever looked, and he looked mint. Like I'm like,
He
I'll
trained
give it
well.
to him.
Like, yeah, I know both these guys. I've seen both these guys on social media. I don't know Ryan personally or anything. I don't know Lewis. I don't even know if I've met Lewis. I've definitely spoken to him. But looking at both their physiques, like, Ryan's huge, definitely has some really strong body parts, but he's not as well put together as Lewis. And I don't mean
Yeah,
that respectful. I think it's just a
the full
proportion of.
package.
If I looked at
Yeah,
Lewis, I go, everything's in proportion. There's nothing like weak about him.
he's
Like,
brought
Ryan
up everything.
is a
Very
very
balanced.
tall guy, so he's quite long limbs, so, but, like, a huge delts and chest, so his legs don't quite match his upper. Still very, very good. Like, he is very good, but, like, in comparison to Lewis in terms of overall proportions, you probably go, yeah, Lewis.
But he's another guy that he never won his IB program, but he won his PCA program. But he only competes because he loves competing. I remember watching a couple of his stories. He's just like, I don't care. People say this and that. He's like, I'm just going to compete in any show that I want to because I love bodybuilding. And I'm like, I get behind that. I dig that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's why I don't get the fuck all this shit that Lewis is catching stick on social media. People, like, giving out to him for competing.
I think it's because I think maybe people think it's unfair that he was a IFBB pro that's done small things, but I think they're just thinking that they have to think like them. Other people have to think like them. And either they don't do the bodybuilding for the love of the sport, or they can't do it themselves.
But
Like,
it just, I don't get the attitude about it. Like, why do they think it's unfair? Why do they think it's like, at the end of the day, he's just gone, right. Winning a pro card, right, isn't a permanent thing. When you win a pro qualifier, it's giving you the opportunity to pay for a pro card to be in the pro division,
yeah,
right? You can not take that. Like, prime example, let's take a couple of years back when it was the IFBB elite and stuff. Blessing Awadabu, top IFBB Open Pro. He won 4 or 5 back-to-back European shows that all allowed him the opportunity to become pro. he kept turning it down and kept competing. He won the Arnold Europe, he won multiple shows. Because you're not obligated to do it. You're like, it's the same. You're not obligated to be a pro forever. Tomorrow, I can go and compete in Two Bros regional if I want. Yes, it means I revoke my pro card, but there's no rule says I can't. So, dudes, everything at the end of the day, like, it's not, for the majority of people in bodybuilding, it's not professional, meaning it's not your source of income. It's a hobby, or, it's something you really enjoy. So he wants to continue enjoying it whilst not having to travel the world to pay huge amounts of money to compete in pro shows where, he kind of knows I'm just making up numbers or whatever. He wants to go and compete in shows. He can drive down the road and jump in a PCA show.
Family can go.
Pretty sure that's all he did at this NABA. I'm pretty sure I heard something that he decided like the day before he was going to jump into it. Yeah. Why not?
There was money to be won. The medals. NABA. One thing about NABA is they hold a great show. The people there really love bodybuilding. They really do. The two NABA shows I went to this year and last year in Scotland, unbelievably run well. Like so well run. The people backstage were very helpful. You go backstage as a coach and be with your client without, they aren't just in it for the money. The stages run well. The judging was fantastic and non-biased. They're like very, very, very impressive. So I can see why you want to do it. And if you do it I think most people aren't doing bodybuilding for the love of bodybuilding. That's what I think with it. That's why they got something to say. So I'm like, when you just love this for the sake of loving lifting weights and doing the thing, then you understand why Lewis has done what he's done.
But also, you have to look at it from this side. I also look at it from, right, and there's two things I'm going to touch on here. First, I'm going to talk about Lewis, right? He's an online coach, right? It's his business, right? If he jumps into a prep and flies off to America and does a pro qualifier or a pro show over there, the places wherever he places, right? The people and everything around him watching him don't have a clue who he is. Not really beneficial to his business.
Yeah.
He turns up to NABA, does well, chats with a load of people, puts himself on display. It's networking. It's building his brand within 100%. The UK, which is his demographic to work for. I'm sorry, but that you talk about like giving out to someone for putting their business card in their local shop. That's what he's doing. Putting his business card in his local shop, trying to promote his well-being. Ultimately, yeah, right. And there's an opportunity for him to make some money. Great. Again, he's looking at his financial well-being. To get like bodybuilding is an expensive sport. Why not take the opportunity to earn some money? Flip side, Daz Fulton, probably one of the best amateur bodybuilders in the UK for a long, long time. Fucking phenomenal. This guy has years of muscle tissue. He's a blue-collar bodybuilder, has a family, has a job. Who was it was saying? I seen it recently. They were talking about it, and they mentioned. I think it was Dan Bastick mentioned about him. He's done a couple of shows this year that have prize money, to take prize money to fund him to go and do a pro qualifier, because he doesn't believe in taking money from his family to support his hobby or goals. So it's financially supporting him to then go and go for a pro.
So cool.
Yeah. It's being smart. I think people are projecting their own sort of insecurities and stuff outwardly.
And elitism. I think people have elitism in the sport, and the whole thing is kind of like, if you don't support these smaller shows, they aren't going to get bigger either. It's like NABA used to be the biggest, and then it went downhill a bit. Now it's on the way back up. If you don't support these smaller shows, then how are they going to get bigger? How are they going to get? I think if everyone keeps on doing what's happened this year, starting off at the smaller shows and then start going through that, these smaller shows are just going to get bigger and a bit more prestigious, and more money's going to go into it than with better prizes. And then it's like, who doesn't want to win a cool trophy? Like some of the trophies at these smaller shows are mint.
I think it's also another example of something that's very wrong within UK bodybuilding. And that's this negative energy and everyone, out for themselves, attacking each other, don't want others to do well. We see it in multiple aspects. Like, I'm just going to put it out there, sure. Like, UK has some of the best UK pros, but you're always seeing shit being talked about some of them from other ones, because they feel like one person being successful is taking away from their potential success. It's everywhere. What the fucking last couple of weeks has been all this drama people making reels about each other, and this is amateurs making reels about each other because one person said something about PTSD, one person didn't agree with it, and they all on there trying to. It's like they're trying to feel like in order to get to the top, you've got to claw at everyone else and pull them down. And it's amplified across multiple parts within the UK bodybuilding scene. Like, just like this, it's like, oh, this guy's doing PCA. What the fuck's he doing that for? Who cares? You know? Lewis right now is, he's all over social media. Like, it's put up because he's won this and people in this. And others kicking up because they're like, fuck, why is he there? It should be,
I think what he's done, I think a lot of people can learn from what he's done. Even Ryan saying the same thing. All these bodybuilders they clearly love bodybuilding, and the social media hasn't taken over with them. Lewis is big on social media, but he's still bodybuilding for the sake of bodybuilding, finding that love, finding that passion, which will give him longevity and more clients. I think that's it's easy to get lost in the weeds with stuff online, the glamour, the glory with it, and blah blah blah. But it comes down to like consistency over time. And these boys have been in the game a long time. I think they realize that they're fed up of trying to please everybody else. And I'm just going to do my own thing, which I want to do, and enjoy it more. And the look is better. You're like, oh, there must be something there.
Unfortunately, there's a whole lot of egos within the bodybuilding scene.
Yeah.
And if people are coming up in this sort of new era of bodybuilding, because there's money to be made as coaches and stuff like this, and it's like they have fucking pro footballer mentalities. They think like they're fuck, I've got a bit of muscle, and they walk them to own the gyms, all this. They all feel like they're elitists, and it's like I could go back to I said in a couple of podcasts before ago. Even as a pro, you win your pro card, you win a pro show. You walk into Tesco, you're still queuing like everyone else. You're a normal person at the end of the day. You got to tone it down on the elitism. Like, everyone is just doing this because they enjoy it. Going to the gym, they enjoy it, they love it. Just because you build a bit more muscle than someone else and you look a bit better doesn't mean that you're all of a sudden on this pedestal where you're the one who deserves all the praise and you deserve on the top.
Yeah, 100%.
All tone it down a bit and recognize that, this guy doing PCA is doing the same thing that you're doing going for pro card.
One second. Can you put my laptop in? It's going to die. 1 second. Sorry, my laptop was running out of charge there. I forgot I wasn't plugged in. I think, good enough. I think people in the UK forget how blessed we are here for how much the rest of the world don't seem to have as many shows as the UK. Am I wrong? Am I right? Like in the UK here, we've got how many federations? We've got UK, UP, FMC, BPA, IBFA. Is FitX still going?
Yeah.
FitX, PCA, Two Bros. Then we've got Grant City, which is independent. Then we've got what's the Barnsley Pitbulls one's called?
Gas Park.
There we go. So that's 9.
There's more. There's shit tons more. There's loads. Ultraflex have their own show, didn't they?
10. So that's like we are unbelievably blessed in the UK for having so many different federations, independent federations. But I think that with Granite City, if they do 2 shows a year, they'd be absolutely killing it in Scotland.
Do you know what? It's I'm just thinking when you're talking about this, it's like talking about all the different shows, and it's like people are shitting on the ones that aren't like IFBB, like people are going for their pro cards. It's almost like fucking taking running and going, right, you can only run if you're aiming to go to the Olympics or be a marathon runner. You're not allowed to go for a jump.
You only play football if you're in the Premier League. You can't play Sunday League football. You can't even play football because you love it. You have to be in the Premier League or you can never play football ever again. You're like, Yeah, no, 100%.
There's a non-league football team based around Manchester somewhere. I think it's Manchester. I keep saying there's loads of ex-pros are playing for this team, like guys who are retired a couple of years.
Just having fun.
Well, no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed because you were once played in the Premier League. No, these are guys who are. No, I just want to turn up and play a bit of football because I love playing.
I want to kick about. And I think, but unbelievable. I think with that elitism, I understand people. I want to be the best. I want to do this. But I'm like, we are so blessed with all these different types of federations. How many shows they put on, prize money, all the trophies and that. I'm like, definitely we should be doing more. And I think that'll actually create a better caliber of athlete because then you've got a transition path because I do find that if you go straight from nothing to two bros or nothing to PCA without doing first times and that, you might set yourself up for failure because you might not do as well as you want to and get disappointed. If you go through the ranks of these smaller shows, do a couple, then you can have more enjoyment. And I just think we're very, very, very lucky.
You must also remember, like, if you take bodybuilding as a whole, what percentage of bodybuilding is professional? Quite a small percentage, right? The majority of people who bodybuild are never going to be professional, right? But they're still involved in the sport. Now, the more people who are involved in the sport, the bigger the sport will overall be. And guess what? The more financial reward there is for those at the top.
Yeah.
It's like, let's go back to football. If there wasn't 100,000 people tuning in to watch Manchester United, guess what? The players wouldn't be getting paid what they're getting paid.
Yes.
The same. You got to remember, these people, these federations that aren't affiliated with going professional are providing a platform for these bodybuilders and fans who love the sport but aren't genetically able to go or aren't able to commit, because guess what? Not everyone can commit to a lifelong pursuit of bodybuilding, but they want to do it and enjoy the gym and, have their family, have their job and compete, and their fans, and it's all feeding in to the overall sport. So we should never be negative about it, because if you're sitting here and you're going, you're an IFBB pro and you're being negative about people doing these other smaller federations, guess what? If they stop that, your platform becomes smaller. Your opportunity for success becomes smaller.
I just think we've got a perfect opportunity to feed British bodybuilding, Scottish, English, Welsh, with higher quality talent, with higher quality people to get more. Like the Olympia stage, the top 10, on the Olympia stage, the people only care about the top 5. People don't really like, which shouldn't be that way, but we only really know about the top 5 and Open, Classic, and so it's a full. So you can't even in the pro league, it's even smaller. The whole thing is of people that are fucking winning shows consistently and do it well. So you can't there's nothing wrong with wanting to do all these small shows. I think the more people we get through it, the better quality of British bodybuilding we're going to have. There's just a better quality, more money in it, more education, more people enjoying the sport. Hopefully, do it for the right reasons. But to us, if people do it for the wrong reasons, I don't really mind because it's not my life. I might, if you want to do it for the wrong reasons.
It doesn't affect you. No, who cares then? If someone wants to have, and it's the same with the social media. If someone wants to have an opinion and put something on their social media, their opinion on something like, I don't even know what it was all about, PTSD from bodybuilding. Cool. That's his perspective. He's allowed to have his own perspective. You don't need to then go and attack him because you disagree. You can just disagree and carry on with your own fucking life.
Wasn't it what Cuba said? The gym is therapy. And I'm like, that is a very interesting. When he said that, I'm like, that's a cool way to think. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Okay, I can see. Do I agree? I don't know. But I'm like, it was a thought-provoking statement. And I think people then took that in other ways. And I'm like, take it in a way back. And then I think he goes on to explain what he means. I'm like, okay, you got, the hook was good. You got my attention. Now what do you mean? I don't think people understood what he was meaning, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Listen, who cares?
It was, it was. I was like, thought-provoking, cool. Don't going to take anything offensively or bad, but I just thought, and then all that kicked off. I was like, cool, but you got your name out there. I was like, that's a lot of talk.
Ultimately, let's come back to someone's opinion on something is their opinion. It's the way they feel. You have no right to say they're wrong because you aren't them. You don't know how they feel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I like my certain routine that I do before bed and the things I think about to go to bed and to sleep and feel good about myself, whatever. You might think that's a load of shit. Cool. That's you, but but it's not wrong because it helps me. It's not wrong.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
wrong for me. It might be wrong for you, but it doesn't make me wrong. That's what it's. People are allowed opinions. We're in a sport where it's all subjective. Again, people who win on stage, they've won on stage. You might not agree. Doesn't make the judges wrong. It's their subjective. It's all 100%. Subjective. The same with how you do things. We know there's a million different ways to train. There's a million different ways to diet. There's a million different ways to take drugs. There's no right or wrong way.
I think it's when you take offense, you forget that offense is 100% a choice at the end of the day. If you choose to be offended by it, you're like, that's on you. You can't
I used to be so reactive. I used to see stuff on social media and I used to be so reactive. And I guess I've just grown up and matured and realized there's a lot more to life than
It's the
this.
wisdom that being reactive isn't always the best course of action. It's kind of like the best course of action is just to be like, I can see why you said that sound. But you know what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, you don't have to agree with something as long as you can see the way around it there. But I do think that we should be making the most of British bodybuilding at the end of the day. It's kind of like, and with all these other shows that have been going on, what show? I didn't go to the IBFA in Scotland, but that one looked really good. I don't know if you saw anything of that one. Darryl, I think Darryl won that one. Martin's boy, classic lad, always peeled,
Yeah,
always peeled.
make this some. Oh no, and
MBPT.
there was two Bro Scotland as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, Two Bros Scotland was the weekend of, so that was after IBF. So there was IBFA and then there was NABA and UKUP in the same weekend. I didn't see much of UKUP because I was at the NABA with Michael.
Yeah,
And
he
then,
won the old.
yeah, he won the overall. He looked really, really good. Got a couple of weeks, came in unbelievable, bursting full. And the whole thing, like we're talking, his enjoyment is what I was really aiming for. He came off stage, he was loving the process, he really enjoyed it. I'm like, okay, let's run with that. That was really, really good. You look good. I was really, really happy with his look. And the posing thing again was the thing that I drilled into him, which I wish that I'd done myself. Because we all become lazy with posing. We always do. Like I shouldn't have. And with him, I drilled it into him. His posing was way better on stage, showed off his physique better. And the enjoyment, you can see the enjoyment when they pose, if that makes sense. You always see if somebody's enjoyment, and judges do feed off that. Judges feed if you smile. They really like it if you smile. Every judge have said that to me. I'm like,
that state presence matters. And ultimately, if you're enjoying it, you've got a bit of an oomph about you, you're going to pose better. It just looks better. It's like what they win, like then that whole thing, like they've talked about it a few times. So I don't only jump on the train of negativity around Martin, but he's a prime example. If you ever looked at Martin Fitzwater when he's posing, if he's pushed into the middle, phenomenal. He's like, wow, he's really hyped up. Posing's really. When he gets moved out, he gets a bit deflated, and his physique gets deflated.
Yeah, the cortisol hits straight away. Yeah,
if that's happening to someone who's at the very top, who probably practices his posing like a non-stop, you can be sure as hell of shit know that it's going to happen at our level and below. You know,
I think that's a cool bit that people don't think about as well. And I want to highlight it as like, just if you get moved to the outside, don't let that deflate you, because that doesn't mean much. I've seen people go from the outside back in again.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's something that I don't want people. I want people to actually listen to, which I haven't actually thought about myself. Is like, if you let that get to you, cortisol can hit you within seconds. Cortisol can that stress look can happen very fast, and water can get hold of you. Start sweating. Just because you get moved outside doesn't. Judges happen to fill decide all the time. There's still chances in it.
Fun fact: when I won San Antonio, they did the call. You know, they called the first call out, right? And they called us out. And I initially started on I think I was second in from the right. So I was like, I think there was six. I think there was six. Anyway, I was second in from the right. They made us, they did like two poses, and then they moved like two or three people, and I stayed where I was. Right? Cool. So if I'd been overthinking that, I'm thinking, okay, I'm not in first or second. I'm staying. We did like two more poses, and I got moved to the middle, and then I stayed in the middle for the entire thing. I won that show, but I didn't get moved to the middle initially.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's why they hadn't noticed me, or whether it's what they were just moving others, and they just, who knows? But you must never react initially to where people are moved to.
Yeah. I think that's I think it's a great point. Just because you get, and your physique can die off within a matter of like 30 seconds. If that lets you get in your head, don't let that happen just because stuff moves. About Martin's a prime example of when he goes like that, bum. You can tell straight away, and he just goes off and he holds a lot of fluid.
So there was, because I mentioned that it was Two Bros Scotland. I thought there was, because I got asked the other day, or stories like, was it like best UK classic bodybuilders? and two Bro Scotland, because I thought, like, obviously, listen, Naz competing this weekend in New York,
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. That dude is a Mr. Olympia, whether it's this year or next year, 100%. So yeah, he's clearly at the top of UK Classic, 100%. After that, I reckon there's obviously there's a couple of good pros, but ones that stand out to me are like, I think Jack Eagles, who competed recently, looks, but yeah, he's not at the top yet, but I think his ceiling is so high. Like, and he's so young. I think, you look at his physique, you go, that guy's got, it's like we look at, you go, that guy has got it. He's going there. He's got the right attitude. He's got everything in his lifestyle set up for it. And then one that sprung to mind for me was the guy who won two Bro Scotland overall in Classic, Colsey.
Cool. Oh my God.
Yeah. He looks like a pro. He's got everything. Big, nice flow, nice shape, good posing.
Gnarly condition.
Skin. I never really heard of him until this year.
Yeah.
Earlier this year for me. Because I think I saw him, Ross coaches him, Ross team pro coach. I think I saw him this guy looks good. Really, really good.
Well, about Yemi, I've not seen much of Yemi, but Yemi, when he hits the mark well.
Yeah, I think Yemi has all the tools to be a really, really good pro, and like could really, really be up there for sure. He's got crazy sort of flow and structure. I think he's still just making that overall like density.
Yeah. Exactly. He's got his proportions of something nutty. Naz's proportions are even nutty, but Yemi has nutty proportions as well. That waist is like non-existent as well.
Yeah.
There's
some very good UK pros and UK
really good. And so Colsey won. Who won the men's open at the Two Bros? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But then there was Grant City the next day, and no, didn't Daz win it? No.
Oh yeah, and I think Daz won the Scotland one. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And then Daz won the granite. Guy came out on stage. I was there. I was like, that is not unfair. Like, I'm not meaning, but I was like, when he came out, I'm like, that's unfair. Now. I'm like, that's not fair. I was just like, everybody looked at him, and it was like, the pictures of him. I met him in person last year with Martin. The nicest guy you'll ever meet as well. And when he walked out, the density with the conditioning was just unbelievable.
So one other person I want to mention from Classic, and I don't know when he's competing, but this guy, I don't know how he hasn't turned pro yet in Classic. Joe Richardson. I'm a huge fan of him.
Joe Richardson, I don't know. Let me have a look. I'm quite bad with the name. Joe Richardson. Has he competed this year?
No, he's in off season. Yeah, Joseph Richardson on Instagram.
Oh, he's got that's a gnarly, yeah. Oh, I've seen him before. Yeah, I've seen him before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's living, mate, fucking nearly every year he's there or thereabouts for his pro card. He just hasn't got it, but I don't know how, because like he's
that X-frame on him. Yeah, that X-frame on the guy's unbelievable.
Classics in the UK.
The UK's coming out with some really, really, really good classic boys right now. Like, really, really impressive.
Mate, when I speak the UK coming out, I watched over the weekend, I had a client doing Siggy's in Netherlands, and it was a regional. Mate, there was three guys in it who all looked like pros. They're all going to get their pro card in the next few weeks. And I was looking at the lineups. Two of the guy who won the overall on the show, I can't remember his name. I know he's Matthew Sport or something on Instagram. He's got a huge following. He's 22. He won the overall, bro. He won the true novice, juniors, open, and overall. It was the dude's first ever show. All right. The guy he beat in true novice, and junior was right up there as well. He was up there as well. First ever shows, still juniors, never competed before. These guys looked ridiculous. And then there was two other guys in the open. There's a guy, Shakri. He's doing Sweden this weekend. You'll see in a Classic. He'll probably win the overall there.
Yeah.
unless, I don't know, is the guy Matthew Sport going there as well? I think he might be. And there was a black guy in it as well who had just like ridiculous proportions, put together beautifully, brilliant conditioning. There was 4 guys in this show, sorry, not 3, 4, in a regional in Holland who were ridiculous.
Just out of the blue.
I was like, what the hell are they in the water in Holland? Because I have a couple of young Dutch guys, my coach as well. They're all massive. Like,
the genetics in Holland are mental.
I've 3 guys who are all between the age of 22 and 24 who are all 6 foot, around 6 foot, maybe just one of them's over, one's under, all around the 6 foot mark, and they're all like 118 kilo. Classic.
Ridiculous. There's something that Holland has some crazy genetics. So were these all Dutch guys on that random Dutch show then? Yeah.
Yeah.
22 and being like,
it's like I was looking at it and I was saying to my wife Becky, I come from, like, before I was a bodybuilder, I played hockey, right? And one of the best countries in the world for hockey are the Netherlands. And I remember playing against Dutch guys. And even from like under 16, they were all just bigger than us. They were like, they all looked like GQ models, like chiseled jaws, swishy back hair, you know, like almost looked like royalty kind of modelly look, and all in really good shape. And I'm like, Joe, actually the genetics in those Dutch guys are made for bodybuilding. And it's only, we're seeing it come through now from the popularity of Wesley. These kids look like, these kids, teenagers are looking at it and going, oh, that's cool, I want to go to the gym. And they've started doing that now, and I've found
the Dutch gym scene only started getting good in the past maybe 10 years as well.
Less. Wesley was an outlier. Wesley was the first, and now it's coming. And then obviously you've got the whole social media aspect of like Young LA and Gymshark and stuff really been pushed. So they're like, all these kids are thinking it'd be cool. Their genetics are made for it. Like and I think we're going to see it really in the classic, because a lot of them, they're all kind of tall and athletic.
And they carry extra weight.
Guys, but these guys are made for classic.
I think the classic look, anything over 6'2" is mental. So if you get the proportions over 6'1", 6'2", with that extra weight, is a fucking crazy look. And Wesley still has got a couple more pounds he can put on.
Mm-hmm.
And he can. I think Wesley, to me, I know it's going to be controversial. Wesley, to me, is my favorite classic look. I love Wesley's look. I absolutely love it. I know it's a bit blocky. I understand the criticisms of it. But when he hits the classic shots, I'm just like, that to me is like, I'm not saying he's better than anybody else, just to me, it's a quintessential. Like when he hits like that side, what's that called? The mantis.
Yeah.
It's just, and then he hits the twisting side double bicep. Or absolutely just beautiful.
This weekend, actually, the New York Pro for classics for ridiculous. You got Naz, you got Diego, and Justin Ballerina. I really like him. He's very great.
Some of the Brazilian guys in classic are unreal as well.
Yeah, the guy Diego, I think he's actually Colombian. He's coached. I don't know if he's coached by, but he's definitely trained by Rude Boy, Ricardo Carrera.
Yeah,
and so he's short, like he's like 5'6" or 5'7". He's a very short one. It's going to be interesting to see, because obviously Naz was 5th at the Olympia, Diego was 6th, and Justin was 9th. Granted, I don't think Justin, that was his best look at the Olympia, though. I think he was a little bit off. So if he's coming in on here, that's going to be, and they're quite different. Like Justin is the 6 foot, like kind of taller guy. He has the long hair. Very similar. Like I think was it a year or two ago, people were like comparing him with C-Bum. He's that kind of structure. You got Naz, who's obviously just like put together by the gods. And then you got Diego, who is short, but tiny waist, huge lats. He's definitely going to have the best back of the 3 of them. Just like crazy proportions. So it's going to be interesting to see. Whoever wins New York is making a big statement for the Olympia.
Yeah, 100%. What would you think is going to happen in the Olympia? Who do you think will take the classic?
I'm backing Naz.
Yeah, I want Naz to win so badly as well.
It's not just that I want to win. I want him to win. Yeah, I definitely want him to win, but I just think he's getting better and better. And for me, he's just got everything for the division. and I think he's going to be a really good ambassador for the division as well. Like he's a really nice guy, nice, humble. Doesn't think he doesn't have that attitude like he thinks he's the greatest in the world. He's just a normal dude. Puts in the work, you know. And Cal's an excellent coach, and they've got a really good thing going. I just think, yeah,
And the best thing about it is like he just goes to the gym, trains. I know loads of my pals that went down to EP Jungle or Blind Band, went and see them. He just chats and just lives the lifestyle, just enjoys bodybuilding.
normal guy.
Yeah,
Just
just enjoys bodybuilding.
listen, I love Ramon as well, so I'm always going to have a bit of a like. I've known Ramon since but I competed with Ramon in Spain in 2021. It was his first ever pro show. The Europa Spain. It was the one he actually got second, but qualified for the Olympia because there was the year of COVID. There was more qualifications.
Yeah.
You know, and then obviously every time I've competed with him at the Olympia, the Ireland, every time we always chat, hang out. He's a cool guy. A lot of time for him. Very little English, so it's always a bit funnier conversations. But
He
we
just
always
looks
see
out.
each other. It's like after the Olympia, a couple of days later, obviously we stayed in Vegas. We're walking down the strip. We bump into Ramon and V, his wife. You know, chill, get a coffee. Same at the Ireland, bump into him. Like we always end up bumping into each other.
Ramon, he just looks sound. He
Yeah,
just looks.
man. Again, he's ridiculous. His physique is ridiculous. It's just put together differently. It's just like you can only truly appreciate his physique when you see it up close and in person because it's just stupid. Like I remember like when like tanning and you there, he stood there like drying off tanning and he looks like he's pulling an ab and thigh. His abs are like just blocks, but he's just stood there. His forearms are just massive.
His arms are ridiculous.
Yeah, very well put together physique. Probably like he doesn't have those craziness that like Naz has, like in those crazy proportions or anything. But it's just a well put together physique that really
dense.
You know what? Where it really shines is when it's stood next to others.
Yeah. He's so dense as well, man. The density he carries with the 3D muscles, mental.
Yeah.
So what do you think about open guys in the UK? Because I think the only one I'm really following right now is Andy Scott. Andy Scott's looking really good this year.
Yeah. Andy Scott's been a phenomenal bodybuilder for fucking years. The junior, ridiculous.
I think with his legs coming up and his shoulders coming up is helping that waist of posing. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for him this year. But
there's a lot of good young UK bodybuilders, open guys competing this year. Like obviously, like Reese has obviously competed a few times as a pro already. He'll be competing this year. He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Like obviously you've got your James Hollingsheads, your Sass, you know, your Lewis Breed, you know, you got these guys. But there's the sort of newer era who've won their pro cards in recent years. There's some like really good guys coming through. They're really good bodybuilders in their own right. Like you got Reese will be competing. I believe he said he's going to be doing a couple of shows and then finishing with Dubai. Ben Featherstone, was it Stone, hasn't been beaten as a pro yet. I see him in the gym most of it. He's got a lot bigger. Joey, who I coach, is competing this year in Open as well. So it's cool to see these guys.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting Joey's moved from fucking class to Open. I keep on forgetting that. He's looking big. His head looks tiny on his shoulders. I put up a lat spread the other day. I was like, fucking hell, your head is tiny, bro.
He's done big. So yeah, we've just finished off season. We're in a little sort of pre-prep phase, and then we're going to start prep for his shows. Yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting people, and I don't mean to. There's definitely more.
But that's the advantage. British bodybuilding is now. I'm saying with all the stuff that's coming up, I was talking about. It's getting even bigger. Like before, it was only a select few, one pro card a year. Like by them, it was quite small. Now the boys. But I think the quality of the boys is extremely high. I think bodybuilding being diluted with how many people are doing it, but the quality I don't think is being diluted, if that makes sense. The quality is still high. Very high.
I think before we used to only have the genetic elite up there. and there was a big gap between the pros and what was below. I think that middle ground have improved so much. You know, there's a bigger overall standard there now. Like, you know, there's not just 4 or 5 guys out of the UK. There's,
Yeah.
you know, there's probably like this year you'll probably see like 20 guys compete within the pro ranks between classic and open, all from the UK. You're not just having the 1 or 2 guys that there used to be. So that like middle ground of bodybuilders have come up now.
The consistency over time thing as well. I think more people I've seen, more even you can. Genetics helped out a huge amount, but consistency over time, boys can just keep on training, and over time they'll get to a great position. I think that British bodybuilding is fantastic right now. Fantastic.
Oh, what's that other guy? He's actually Irish, a young Irish guy, but I think does he live in the UK?
Matt.
No, Dan Talibi. Yeah, Matt McCulloch is awesome as well, but I believe he's getting married soon, so I don't think he's competing soon. But no, Dan Talibi. I don't. I'm sorry, guys. We're not quite at the level of podcast where we're pulling.
Yeah,
up.
when they all know each other. Yeah, Dan Talibi here. Oh, him. Oh, who's he coached by again? Is that Tom? He's coached by Hayes. Yeah, he's mint.
Yeah,
he's got a crazy physique.
He's like, thing is like, he's young, so you know he isn't doing like, he's not winning shows yet, like, but he will be for sure. Like, that guy's young, and he's never going to be classic or anything like that. He's straight into open because he carries so much muscle. Like that dude in 3-4 years could be a very top level pro.
I'm just looking at him, like the 3D muscle on him is absolutely mental. But yeah, I think we can leave it there. Then I think that's a good comeback. But there will be regular now off prep and body blast, so it's going to be good.
Right, that's the end of this one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and all that other shit, and we'll see you for the next one.
Peace.
There we go.